We are very excited this morning. I want to ask you, what does excite you? What is it, are those things in your life that you get up in the morning and you get pumped? You go to bed at night and your brain can't turn off and you are so excited, you're jacked up because you're excited, you're passionate, you're driven about. What are those things in your life? Some people are really passionate about power. They want the prestige and the power, the money, the position. That's what drives them. Everything is wired for, how can I get more? Some of us, we are driven by success. We want to go up the corporate ladder at all costs. How can I achieve my goals and what will I have to do to achieve them? Other of us, we get excited about beauty. We want to look good, feel good. We want to walk in the room. We want to own the room. We want everyone to know, here I am. Some of us are really, really passionate about pleasure. Some of us like our toys. Some of us like Best Buy really badly. Some of us like the fact that we like to have more fun than anything else. If we can go camping, if we can go hiking, if we can go this or that, if we can go do our favorite hobby 24/7, we can do that. Some of us are very passionate about the idea of raising a family. Some of us dream and dream of the day when we get to have that child come home. And we long for it, we pray for it, we yearn for it, we plan for it. Some of us have those great blessings and those surprises of, whoops, we're going to have a child. And we get excited about that over that 9 months. There's those that are so excited, they're so driven by the idea of family, and even though they can't have family, they adopt children because family is so important to their heart and their soul. Cindy and I have friends, and I just got a Facebook communication through another church planting couple. And they are looking into adopting right now. They are going to go through the commitment and the paperwork and the interviews of adopting. We know 3 other church planting couples, pastors, husbands, wives, that have already adopted and done this. I have a friend, Cindy's best friend from her high school. She and her husband adopted a cute little child from China. She's a precious little girl. So we're driven. We are excited and passionate about certain things, and we're willing to invest anything to get there. We are willing to commit and sacrifice anything at all costs to do it. As we're looking at this story in the life of Abraham, as you join us this morning, we're looking at being all in. What does it take to be a man or a woman that is all in, that is committed, sold out, and investing and following God at a level that will change the world? And God uses man to do that. He uses us to do that. Abraham and Sarah have been following God and following God. They began this great adventure with Him. They've had this amazing promise that you will be blessed, your descendants will be blessed. I will work through your family and do incredible things. Simply follow me. And they've been following. They're up in their upper years now. They're in their 80s. They're getting close to 90. And there's no kids yet. For those of you that are up in ages, you know 90 years old is not when you want to have kids. 80 years old is not when you have kids. But they're waiting, they're longing, they're hoping, they're expecting this promise, but it's not happening. It's not happening. And there comes this point where you want to ask the big question that your heart cry that you wrestle with at night. And the question comes out kind of like, how can I be sure of the promise, God? I've heard you. I understand what you're telling me. I've talked. I've heard you. And I believe. I do believe. I want to believe. But there comes that point of saying, just give me a sign. Just give me a clue. How can I be sure that this is all going to happen? That it's worth walking the way I'm walking and living the way I'm living, that this is going to pan out. Abraham and God are having time together. It's a starry night. This morning when I drove in, it was absolutely beautiful. There was a crescent moon out. There were some stars still left. It was beautiful driving in this morning, getting ready to be prepared. It's that kind of a setting. And God's saying, remember my promise is more vast than what you see up there. As amazing as that is, what I'm going to take you into is even more amazing. I promise you that. That's the dialogue. That's the relationship. That's the moment they're encountering as we go to Genesis. And I want you to follow along, if you would, and jump to Genesis chapter 15. Page 12 of those yellow Bibles that we hand out, if you have them there. And we're going to start at verse 6. And it says, and Abram believed the Lord, and the Lord counted him as righteous because of his faith. Then the Lord told him, I am the Lord who brought you out of Ur of Chaldees to give you this land as your possession. And Abram replied, O sovereign Lord, how can I be sure that I will actually possess it? Think of this moment. Think of this dialogue. Think of this relationship they have at this time of their life. God is saying, and it says that Abram was righteous. It means he's right with God. God is saying, you're okay with me. I know you. We walk together. We live together. We have a great relationship. Dude, you're okay with me. That's a great place to be. To be in a right relationship with God. To feel that love, the communication, the free-flowing dialogue. It's not a religion. It's a relationship. It's year after year, day after day, walking and talking and praying. It's listening and hearing what God has to say. Waiting on the promises and doing it with God. That's where Abe and God are at this moment in time. It's a really, really cool place to be. But this relationship is so comfortable. This has gone on for so long. Abe is now able to express to God his question. How can I be sure? Now, he's not doubting God. He's not saying, I don't believe you. You are the King and Lord of the universe. You created me and everything that there is. I've seen you already work in my life. I'm not doubting the promise, God. I just want some clarification. I want to understand how this fits in the grand scope of things. How can I be sure? Because my wife and I go to bed every night, and it's still the same. It's still the same. We're not getting any younger, God. And so God talks to him, and they begin the dialogue, and Abe's question is about a question of commitment. How committed are we to this relationship that we're in, God? How committed are we to see this through this long, dry period of our relationship? I hope, I pray, we talk, but how committed are we to really seeing it? It's a question of commitment. And it's a legal question. My dad was a judge and a lawyer, so growing up, I understand legal contracts really well, more than I should. Oh my gosh. I don't want to know everything I know about legal stuff. There's forms and there's documents, there's procedures, and in their day they had this way of doing things. That if you were a king, a person of authority, a person of power, and if your two kingdoms were going to merge together, it would be a covenant, not a contract. Totally different. And we have a hard time as Westerners understanding that. And this covenant was built on the fact of these kings would bring their empires together. And they would sit, and the one of superiority would say, okay, here's the plan. And now you get to enter into the plan, and it's all about relationship. Either my kingdom and your kingdom are going to hook up. If my daughter is going to marry your son, which often was the way they did this, it's about relationship. I want to know you're committed to the relationship, because I'm going to give you access to everything I have. So if you're not committed to a dynamite, powerful relationship, there's no deal here. That's what this illustration is coming from. This is where Abraham is pulling this out of his head. That we're talking something personal here, God. I know we are. But how can I be sure? What does it look like?